Also, a matchup that happened during that day was the New Orleans Saints and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in which the Saints lost, which secured them a top 10 pick, the number 9 overall pick to be exact. And it's pretty interesting. The Saints are in this position, especially with the way that they started the year, starting things off 2-0. I think they scored like 91 points within those first 2 games, and everyone was saying like these guys are true contenders. And then out of nowhere, they lose 7 games. They fired Dennis Allen, and here we are with a 5-12 finish for the Saints. So currently, if I can get it pulled up, this is what the draft order is looking like. You got the Tennessee Titans at 1. You got the Cleveland Browns at 2, New York Giants at 3, Patriots 4, Jaguars 5, Vegas 6, the Jets 7, Carolina 8, and then the Saints there at 9. Chicago follows at 10. The 49ers, Cowboys, Dolphins, Colts, Falcons, Arizona, and the Bengals, and then Seattle. So when you're looking at this, if I'm in this position as the Saints, everybody's going to say go get quarterback. But if you look at this, Tennessee needs a quarterback. So they're probably going to take either Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. The Giants need a quarterback. They're going to take either Cam or whichever one of the two is left. The Patriots have their guy. The Jaguars have their guy. Vegas needs a quarterback. The Jets probably need a quarterback because they're going to probably move on from Aaron Rodgers. Bryce Young is there in Carolina. So before you even get a chance to make a pick, 4 quarterbacks will be off the board. I don't think that a quarterback is the first round move that the Saints need to make. I think instead of trying to go quarterback, the Saints need to go and get a pass rusher. Cam Jordan is near the back half of his career. I think he just signed an extension not too long ago to go ahead and be able to finish his career off there with the Saints, but there's no guarantee that the Saints will keep him through this offseason. And so because of that, I think your succession plan needs to start this year. You need to go get a pass rusher. Obviously, you have Abdul Carter out of Penn State. That is Mel Kiper's current top-ranked guy as an off-ball, or excuse me, as a outside linebacker on the board. But I'm looking at a guy that he might not truly be a first-round grade, but he's extremely good. I'm looking at a guy in James Pierce out of Tennessee, who has 19 career sacks, that has played extremely well in his career and has looked very strong. I was looking at his numbers a little bit earlier, and he's got good size to him, 6'5", 243 pounds. He had 7.5 sacks this year. He had 9.5 last year, 3 forced fumbles in his career. So a very talented young man. I think from there, you can probably go and get you an offensive tackle or maybe even another pass catcher, receiver to add to the mix of Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed that you already have there in the mix. But I think this is a big offseason for the Saints coming up. I think that you obviously have to get a new head coach. And like I've said numerous times before in the past, from the day that Dennis Allen was let go, I said that your job is now to go and get Aaron Glenn. I know people are saying that we need to go and get an offensive-minded coach and all of these things and that, and people have said Ben Johnson and all of these other names. I've even seen John Gruden's name being thrown in the mix, which that's neither here nor there. But you need somebody there that, number one, understands the culture. Number two, understands the level of expectation that the franchise has had in the past and wants to get back to. And also somebody that has built up a strong culture in the place that they've been. He checks all the boxes. Aaron Glenn was a part of the staff when Sean Payton was there. He was there when they were at some of their best years in the 2010s. And what he's done with that Detroit defense, which again, we'll talk about that a little bit later, what he's done with that defense in the amount of short period of time that the Lions have accumulated all of the stars that they have, what he's been able to do is phenomenal. And his name has been linked to several jobs, including the Saints and Jets. And I saw here on Get Up, that's on my TV in front of me, that his name has been linked to a couple other jobs as well, and they will put in requests to interview him. And he's rightfully deserving of that opportunity. He's earned it. And if I'm the Saints, I'm giving it a serious consideration to Aaron Glenn being my next head coach. And you see where you go from there. I also believe you bring Clint Kubiak for another year because he's shown that he can get creative offensively. He just didn't have a full arsenal to work with in an entire season. And yes, there's no such thing as a perfect season where everybody's going to be healthy. But my God, I think from week 3 and beyond, buku different rotations on the offensive line, receivers in and out of the lineup. Like Chris Olave had a concussion almost every other week. Let's see what he can do when he has a full year of all of the offensive weapons that he can possibly utilize. And let's go from there. So get Aaron Glenn, get you a pass rusher in the first round, get you maybe an offensive tackle, a wide receiver, and then build up a few other pieces here and there around that. Because I think offensively, you're fairly strong on the offensive line. You got Trevor Penning, you got Cesar Ruiz, you got Eric McCoy, you got Fuaga from last year. You might just need another tackle. Maybe you go in free agency and get somebody, or maybe, like I said, you even draft in the second or third round. You go and get maybe an Emory Jones that could still be there out of LSU, pick him up and add him as a piece there to your offensive line. You got Alvin Kamara still there for a couple more years. But maybe you need to look maybe later in the draft and go and get somebody. Cam Scatterboo could still be there. Hey, and what he's done, the performance that he's been able to put on, what he did in the college football playoff was commendable. So the Saints get the number 9 overall pick in the NFL draft, and we will keep our eyes on that as we inch through this offseason coming up.